Hello, welcome to Spotlight, holding a candle for the lantern of the arts.
Spotlight, brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
This evening, it's all about the fungi and the lichen and the moulds at the wonderful Loom Gallery in Laxey. It's the Crucible in Peel, and the first part of a wonderful chat with sculptor Rob Jones and his friend and mentor, the world-renowned sculptor Michael Sandel. And a poem from the Manx bard Boxey. Remember, do get in touch with any creative, artistic endeavours you may be involved in, planning, hoping to create, or really want to put in that spotlight: poetic, visual, theatrical, musical, literary, film, mime, ceramics, and all the others. Email spotlight@manxradio.com or just howardkane@manxradio.com. I'd love to hear from you. So, to start, we'll head up north to catch up with the artist Julia Aspey-Smythe, curator at the Loom Gallery in Laxey, a wonderful place to behold, and a super seasonal exhibition just drawing to a close, but there is time. We were talking earlier on with Julia here about this very exhibition when it was we were talking about it being set up. Here it is now in all its glory. You've still got a little bit of time to come down and see it, so I thought we'd give you a bit of a reminder to do so if you haven't already. So that's quite a long title. So it's fungi and moulds and algae.
And moss, lichen, slime moulds, smuts, liverworts, rusts.
All those ones.
Yes.
So that was the basic theme, and this was an open exhibition for anyone to put in a piece, whether it was straight on canvas, whether it was three-dimensional, whether it was sculpture, but basically on that theme.
Yeah, anywhere along those things that don't necessarily fall within the animal or plant kingdom. A lot of them fall outside of on their own kingdom of weird and wonderful shapes and colours and forms. We've got them in all ways in the exhibition.
A terrific amount. I mean, the whole place is full of colour and shapes, and as you mentioned, pretty much everything you can think of. We're just standing. Well, actually, we'll just go back a little bit here, because there's a wonderful one just as you come in, which faces you as you come in, which is a really good size, an amazing semi-three-dimensional piece, which is a piece of felt work just called lichen. I thought at first they were dried mushrooms, but this is all now, what's it called again? It's an extra fine felt.
There's pre-felt, felting, silk, rami, which is a very, very fine cotton fibre, according to our fibre expert downstairs, John, in the mill. And so she's felted it, wet felted it, and sewing, and it's just delightful and very textural, and you want to poke it. If you looked at lichen really, really closely, you can imagine this is what it looks like. It's fabulous.
It is gorgeous, very textural, done in beautiful autumnal colours as well, of sort of russets and browns and different shades of greens and such like. A gorgeous thing, and very, as you say, very tactile, that one. Right behind us is another one that caught my eye as soon as we came through as well, which are just these stunning photographs, quite a few of them by David Salter, a local photographer.
Yes, from South of the Island, I believe, could be wrong. And Sean Corlett and Patricia Tutt. Patricia's a well-known photographer on the island, but there's such an array of the tiny, tiny mushrooms with some of their companions and insects, down to the full forest floor and the gills and the light, big pieces on aluminium. Really fascinating. It's lovely. The light is stunning on so many of these photographs.
They are gorgeous. Let's just wander up a wee bit more on this wall as well. We have some other pieces here done in textiles. This terrific one in front by Paige Goldsmith we were looking at. We were trying to get the pronunciation right, and I should be able to say it's Ascomycetes. So it's a type of fungus. I think it's spore shooters and such like. But again, a super textile piece, tactile piece, I should say, done in. I'm just looking at the label now. Oh, mostly in wool.
Wool, mohair, and merino tapestry. But it's amazing how beautiful a cross section of a sac fungus can be.
They are gorgeous, those ones. And then right down below us, some ceramics. And Helen Almond, she's got some nice plates here.
Oh, yes. they're beautiful. You can imagine a big salad in there. They're stunning. She does beautiful mugs as well. So they're just something I'd not seen Helen's work before. So they're a real coup to have in the gallery. I'm very pleased to see those here.
They are gorgeous, and we'll paddle up a little bit further because lots of different colours, much brighter works here on the left. Jane Corran red rust, and these look like they might be almost paintings of sort of what you might see down the microscope.
Oh yes, yeah, she's got a good slime mould going down there as well, and some green algae, but they make a fabulous triptych of real vibrant colour. Just the colours within them, the acid greens and the orange and greys. It's abstracted versions of looking down a microscope is perfect.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet strangely, if you stand back and just don't think about it, some of it almost looks like it could be Aboriginal art.
Yeah, it crosses so many different styles, but you wouldn't get bored looking at them because there's always something else to take your eye on them. They're almost like they're living down in a petri dish in front of you.
They are terrific, and this is the whole thing with this exhibition. It is like a living life. A wonderful little piece just behind me here. Mark Smythe, The Chasm, which is, it looks like it's almost still alive. I don't know whether I'd say it was a bowl or whether it's a decoration or whatever, but it's almost like a hollowed out piece of living tree. Fascinatingly done.
He said this has been living in his garden for ages, and all the moss on the outside of it has been weathering for years, and then he's made this fabulous vase bowl. You could put a light in the bottom of it and it would make a stunning centerpiece.
It's gorgeous. I love that one. It's very, the inside. I'm not quite sure how he's done that. Very clever, like all these artists are. Wandering over to the right, and we've got a little bit more in the way of ceramics. A brilliant piece here by Colleen Corlett, a regular exhibitor. Lichen, fungi, moss, and mould. And it's actually, I thought it was ceramics, actually a gourd.
Yeah, she's very clever, Colleen, as ever. She carves the gourds, dried gourds, and then dyes them and paints them and just creates fabulous shapes, and it's exquisite. The amount of different varieties of mushrooms and fungus it's like a little encyclopedia of fungi right in front of you. It's fabulous.
On the other wall opposite, again, we're just in front of me now as a crossover, some lovely what look like either lithographs or they're lino prints. Okay, yeah, all lino prints and some graphite and paper. So again, but nonetheless beautiful by just being in that lovely black and white.
Yeah, great studies of chanterelles and fly agarics and the fat bottoms, penny bonds, and then actual prints from turkey tail fungus, and then the drawings from Andrew McKellar and Ellie Baker. I love lino prints, so the mushrooms really lend themselves to make great designs.
I'm just going to bring you back to where you come in, actually, just as you actually enter into the exhibition. Here's a piece. Now, this is interesting because it says, I looked at it just when I came in. You said, ooh, controversial, that one. It's a piece of art. When you look at it, it's sort of illuminated from within, or it's on an iPad or something. It's that sort of look about it. It's got quite a trippy, hippie, fairy feel to it, in lots of a little cottage lit from within and in a sort of forest of mushrooms. But it's AI.
It is AI, yes. Now, normally I would not be allowing such a thing in to a gallery, but this has come as a debating piece. So being open-minded, it's really fascinating to see how people react to AI and how their views on it. So this is here so that people can have their say. It's such a contentious subject, AI art. Whether it's real or not, or the fact that it takes pictures from other artists or photographers. And so here you can have your say and and say exactly what you want. You can be as vehement as you like and as candid. And it's interesting to see how other artists or non-artists, if their views correlate. But it's here, AI is here, so some way we have to find a way to live with it. And so this is a very interesting exercise in what people think about such things.
And you're quite right in a way that there's no point in trying to hide away from it. It's here, and it's going to remain here, and probably going to get an awful lot better.
It will become more sophisticated, guaranteed, just like computers and such things have done over the years. Things that became very clunky to start with are now so sophisticated. And maybe there is an argument to say that people will then want and have a desire for actual handcrafted, passionate art straight from the artist, because AI will become so saturated around everywhere. So maybe it will spin it round, who knows? But you are most welcome to come down and have your say on the debate chart down on the table here.
And it's already been, clearly it's been generating quite a lot of chat, and I just had a quick skim through them. It's not all against. It's a mixed bag. There are some saying, oh, this isn't art, it's just lazy and it's whatever. But other people more saying, well, you know what, we've got to move with it, and this could be at least a part of the future.
Some people consider it another tool, which they could be completely right in that it's just another tool, just like digital art, just like photography, just like a paintbrush. It's just a different tool. And so we will see. There's some people are completely on the fence with it as well. They don't want to be told that it's wrong, and they don't want to be told it's right. They want to make their own mind up. And some of the images are fabulous, but it's the issue of where the computer has dragged those images from, whether it's plagiarism, whether it's copyright breach. There is all that other side of it as well. And
the dates then, I know it's running until November. When is the closing date?
It closes on the 4th of November. We're at Tuesdays to Saturdays, 10 till 5, we're open.
Do make the effort to check it out. It's open until and including Saturday. It's more than worthwhile. Great stuff. A wonderful thing to behold. Most pieces are for sale at very reasonable prices, as Julia says. Cracking presents. Or something for your own wall.
Spotlight. Brought to you by the Isle of Man Arts Council.
A bit of poetry. We always like to check in with the current bard. Amazingly, we're on our 3rd bard since I took over the Spotlight mantle. We're now with the wonderful Boxy, already well into her tenure and enjoying every minute of it as far as I can tell. We'll catch up with her proper around about Christmas time. For now, here she is with a suitably chilly little number.
This is about the island of Manannan. Island of Manannan, his cloak wrapped tight around his realm, hiding it from others, keeping us safe. Safely soaked to the cliched shrivelling skin from autumn till the middle of March, our mist on the mountain, perpetual mizzle, unless it's actually raining and blowing a hoolie. It penetrates even the most waterproof of clothing, wrinkling and crinkling skin and flesh, so my weary bones cry out, "No more! I am too chilled and frozen to my very core. You've gone too far, Manannan MacLear. Thaw me, please, in a nice hot bath with loads of Radox bubbles, or magic me away to Africa, or just pop me down to Spain. Allow me to enjoy some winter sunshine whilst your island's sodden ground still slumbers. Then bring me safe back home once May bursts forth in glorious sunshine, bathing me in warmth and eagerness, just in time for TT week."
I think we might have another from Boxy next week. Let's see how we go. For now, we're off to another wonderful art gallery, this time at the House of Manannan in Peel, where you'll currently find a very different type of art on display. Crucible is a fantastic collection of sculptures and drawings by local artist Rob Jones. He uses largely discarded steel items for his work, often mounted on old oil drums as plinths, and explores themes of waste and decadence, the climate crisis, burning of fossil fuels, and certainly finds how beauty can always be seen in the most unpromising of materials given the right eyes. And skill, of course. He was joined at the opening of the exhibition by mentor, friend and former Ireland resident, the world-renowned sculptor Michael Sandel. A couple of great pieces of his work, of course, here on the island, a place which holds very special memories for him. We sat down amongst the art to have a chat.
I mean, we do live in quite decadent times. It's a throwaway culture. When I'm making my artwork, I'm always trying to limit how much you have to, what a new material you have to buy. I'm always trying to find a piece of material instead, or I'm upcycling stuff all the time. I'm using a byproduct really of the steel industry, the offcuts and what's often thrown in a metal skip.
You're sitting next to Michael here now. You've been, I suppose, a student of Michael's? You've known Michael for a long time? No. How long have we known each other?
Quite a while now. I wouldn't say I've become a sort of mentor, but I recognised some time ago that Rob stood out because I was a patron of the Sale Gallery and I saw some of his work before I knew him. And I thought, well, this stands out. This is serious, because there's an awful lot of stuff in the Sale Gallery which I described as local tat and not art. I got very cross about that. In fact, I complained all the time that the Sale Gallery should not be a shop selling local tat. It should be a centre of excellence. And it had put on some good shows, but I saw this guy has got something, and I was dead right. So he has. So I'm not really. He's not a student of mine. He's somebody I believe in, and I've encouraged. And it doesn't matter how old you are, you need him to be encouraged. But no, he's a very serious sculptor. This is a fantastically good show. And what delights me is the drawings, because they're very, very, very good. They stand out and chime wonderfully with the sculpture. And this is a fairly new development. So he's now a different sort of artist with a bigger scope. It's wonderful.
And that actually harks back to a little chat we were having as we were enjoying our chocolate there a moment ago and just having a cuppa. But you were saying about sort of, commercial tat, as it were, which people might often think of when they go to some galleries looking around. How would you distinguish, in your mind, between what you describe as perhaps tat or commercial tat or something overly commercialised and good art?
The thing is that if the work is serious and genuine and it comes from the artist's soul, you know that immediately. If it's fraudulent and it's rubbish, you also know that. There's a talent for recognising quality in art. You don't necessarily have to know a great deal of art education or anything like that. If you read the comments on all these visitors, they've got it. They can see it's good, right? And it is good, it's serious. There's a huge difference between serious art, because you don't enjoy it necessarily, it's hard work. It's not something that gives you a huge amount of pleasure all the time. If you're a hobbyist, of course, it's all very nice and you do it to escape. It's escapism. If you're a serious artist, it's actually therapy for you. It's psychotherapy for you primarily, because if you don't do it, you're going to go mad. You're going to get very sick, very angry, because real artists are always troubled, and you do art to try to make yourself whole. And that's what all there is to it. There's a very iconic book written in the 30s by a Viennese psychiatrist called Ernst Kris, called Psychoanalytical Explorations in Art. And every one of the artists he deals with, they were all mostly manic depressive, or what is now called bipolar. And a lot of them were absolutely mad as a box of frogs. If you're normal, right, you need not apply. You're in the wrong game.
You normal, Rob?
Probably, yeah.
No,
I think you find a lot of people probably say I'm not.
Of course you're not.
It's very hard to give a straight answer to that one. Yeah.
But do you see it, as Michael was saying, that do you see your work and your art as therapy?
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with Mike that if you're creative and it's in you to be, to create, if you don't do that, or you suppress it, or you're not given the opportunity to express that, I don't think you're going to be in a very good place, right? I think you're in a much better place. However, whatever mountains you may need to climb to it, which, you know, when you go on an artistic path or a creative path, whether it be music or sculpture, whatever you're doing, it's not necessarily an easy road, but I think it's a lot better than not doing work and not being creative. You know, you just got to get on and do it, and it's very hard because you're sort of exposing yourself to criticism, really, aren't you? You're putting your soul out there, and people can be pretty harsh, you know. I mean, even people who like artwork and whatever, you know. I mean, they're the first to criticise, but actually putting yourself out there takes a lot of guts, really. Yes, it's not easy.
You like interpolate something there. If you don't show it, you're not subjected to criticism. Now, sometimes the criticism is nonsense, or sometimes people tell you things that are true, and if you are a big enough person, you accept the criticism.
And I suppose it is exactly that, isn't it? As you were saying, Michael, and also just yourself, Rob, as well, that if you are working as a professional artist, you do have to bare your soul, and equally, you've just got to follow your own path and, absolutely, I suppose, ignore, frankly, what anyone else says.
Absolutely. You do it for yourself first, and obviously it's nice if people enjoy what you've done, but that's not going to be the case ever. You know, you're always going to get mixed opinions on what you do. So primarily, you're doing this for yourself, but you'd like to think it enriches people, and some people get it, some people enjoy it, and the more exposure to this kind of art on the island is for the better, really, because people are never going to understand work like this unless you get exposure, and we get exposure to an awful lot of work that Mike's already described. There's no end of it on the island, and there's pretty pictures of, you know, Peel Harbour, etc. But actually, this sort of artwork, there's not a lot of exposure. I mean, why do people have to go to, you know, major cities to see this kind of work? Why is it not here? Why is there not more on the island? You know, I mean, to educate people, they've got to be exposed to it. They've got to be able to see it, and there's just not enough.
And you actually obviously started training over here originally, Michael, in the, 1950s would it be?
I went to the Douglas School of Art and Technology. Mm-hmm. Yes, very interesting period of my life. I actually did learn a lot, particularly from a teacher called Eric Houlgrave, whose daughter was here yesterday. Eric taught me an awful lot. I learnt an awful lot from there, and I'm very grateful. I'm immensely grateful to have been brought up in the Isle of Man, because the landscape, the colours, and being surrounded by the sea. I mean, there's an article in a magazine called the Sculpture Journal, where I was interviewed by an academic called Julia Kelly, and it's about the influence of the sea on my work. An awful lot of instances, like I've got the lifeboat memorial, and I've done the International Maritime Seafarers Memorial, and I've got the memorial to the Siege of Malta, which is an island, and actually I have close contact to the Isle of Man, interesting enough. So the sea plays a huge part of my work, and as I say, the light in the island changes all the time, and I used to spend ages when I was at Douglas High School and at the art school in the Manx Museum. When it was empty those days, you could walk around and dream and look at the Arthur Knox watercolours, and they influenced me, because he got the light. By God, he was good. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky to be brought up in the island.
It's the sort of exhibition which stops you in your tracks and makes you think. Again, I recommend you check it out. Rather more time for this one, though. It runs through until January, but do get down at some stage. That's about it this week. Don't forget, if you want to hear anything again, go to manxradio.com, download the Spotlight podcast, listen where and when you want. Why not try it whilst checking your bonfire for hedgehogs? See you next week. Until then, look after yourselves, and whatever you're doing, be creative about it. Cheerio.